The government continues to roll out aid to keep businesses from collapsing, and many are trying to adapt to the situation. But how are they adapting? How are they exactly doing it? And to find out the answers, we're connected with Pak Hariyadi Sukamdani, Chairman of Indonesian Employers Association, or APINDO, and the Indonesian Hotel and Restaurant Association, or PHRI. He also sits in the Advisory Council of the Indonesian Chamber of Industry and Commerce, or KADIN. Good morning, Pak Hariyadi.
Morning.
Selamat pagi. Thank you for joining us
good
today.
Morning. Good morning, Mbak Kai, Mas Paul.
So I'm just out of curiosity, this is the very first question, because now 1.5 years in, how has the pandemic affected your businesses so far?
Overall, it's really impacted because our own group, it's doing in tourism sectors. We do in the hotel business, in the property business, and this is really hit by the pandemic. The only still growing, it's in media.
Okay.
We own Business Indonesia. It's still growing, and in the education. But the rest, it's really hit by this pandemic.
So how have you been able to adapt in order to keep business going, trying to keep it going as usual if possible? What are sort of steps have you been able to take?
It's really difficult if you're talking about the tourism in sectors, because these sectors, it's really need people to have activities. When they have restricted in the PPKM regulation, then no one doing their activities, especially for the traveling, and this business really suffer. And also for the property itself also hit also, since that especially for the medium upper segment, this is also like a start for the first house is still okay, because the government give the incentive, the stimulus, so still okay. But the rest is not good. And if you are talking about the automotive sectors, it's doing quite good because the government also give the stimulus for the tax, for the reducing the tax for the automotive.
But in regards to, say, the increased, first of all, we have increased expenses, such as having extra protocols in place. We just saw a video there of, let's say, a hotel. They would have to take extra steps in order to ensure that places have been sanitized. Not to mention having to maybe cut employee shifts as well in order to keep costs down. Has that helped at all?
For the additional costs, like for the protocol, health protocol, support, accessories, I think it's not so really have much cost actually, because we anyway we should do about that, to make it to provide the sanitizer, to provide the clean water to wash the hand. It's not. But the problem is about the cost at all. Cost at all. I mean, like the employee cost, for the utilities cost. This is really impacted because when the revenue is going down and the cost is still there, like electricity, for example, this is really impacted.
So I think the next thing is, like, one of the ways a lot of industries are adapting is through the digitalization, right? And I know you are a group managing a lot of different kind of industries, businesses within different kind of industries. How has the digitalization among businesses here, helped to adapt towards this pandemic that we're going through, and Indonesia compared to the rest of Southeast Asia? How do you see it?
If you're talking about the digitalization, actually the sectors can optimize their marketing channel through this digitalization, especially for like the small medium enterprise, and also for the food and beverage product, and some the consumers product. Yes, they can increase their sales to this the e-commerce channel. But overall, it's still far behind the the ordinary case, yeah, in the normal condition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is growing. But this is growing. Some of them, especially as I said, for the consumer food and beverage,
Right.
they do, and also for the sports item like
Right.
shoes, bicycle. They sell through the e-commerce. Yes, they do quite well.
You know, Pak Hariyadi, speaking of digitalization, the government is encouraging, especially small businesses, to digitalize their business in order to continue to survive. If they're unable to have a physical store, then perhaps they can continue having a digital platform as well. You mentioned earlier that the government has provided subsidies for a lot of these businesses as well. In what other ways has the government provided help for those in need, and how much of an impact is it having so far?
The problem is, if you're talking about the e-commerce,
Yeah.
the sellers mostly they imported the goods from China.
Oh.
That's a problem. Yeah, the majority I think is quite a lot. It's about 75 to 80%, something like that. So
Right.
this is also wondering us. Because in the beginning of 2020, Apindo quite success to convince government to lower down the threshold for the we call it barang kiriman. Barang kiriman. The terminology is barang kiriman. It means that the goods sent to Indonesia below $75
Okay.
per package.
Right,
Before,
okay.
yeah. Then we lowering down to $3.
Oh.
So it means that we want to make it a fair treatment between the local and for the import. So if the import items, it's about $75. So this is actually not fair to the local, because
Right.
most of them they under invoice to make it to 75. So they are not paying
Full price.
below $75, they are not paying the import duty.
Right.
Mas Pao.
Okay.
So that's not it's not fair for us. Yeah. So when we are lowering down to $3, and still it's still a lot of the import items from China enter Indonesia. So this is wondering us how that they can still. So if you see in the e-commerce platform, many of the things. The good things is really cheap, you know.
You brought up an interesting point. So how do we fix this? How do we rectify this mistake? I mean, I know it's up to us consumers as well.
Yeah.
We're always preaching support your local brand, support your local products. But how do we change people's mindsets, and how do we correct this so that we're more local based as opposed to importing?
The consumer all over the world, their character is they are looking for the cheap price and the good quality. So they don't care about this is Indonesia or not.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the nature of the consumer. Yeah. So
Right.
I think the most important is that the government must really monitor about this. Yeah. So I also talked to the Director General of Customs to see this. How come that it still can how come that the goods that's imported, it's still dominated by China product, because if we do this properly, at least the competition become more
Fair,
become more fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand that because recently President Joko Widodo also has encouraged, the general public to support local products, and has given a lot more eases to the business of, I understand that, but it might have backlashed just a little bit, but I hope we'll find the balance. But, speaking of going back, we're now, reaching the public activity restrictions, or PPKM, that have been extended until October 4th, though the current restrictions are now a lot lighter than they were before. Do you see this having an optimistic impact towards towards businesses?
Yes, I think this is the condition that we should pass through. Yeah.
Yep.
Since that the condition before, it's quite worrisome. We ever had the positive cases one day, about 50,000 people, and the hospital is almost collapsed, etc. So I think now the step of the government do step by step to make it more lighter for the restriction, I think is good. And the most important now it's how that we can handle this, that this positive case not become explode again. And one thing, Mbak Kai, that we really noticed about the testing. The testing, we are glad that our proposal, our pressure, public pressure to the government to lowering down the
price of the
PCR test,
Yes.
the PCR test,
Right.
from the 900 become the 450, and I think this is can be make it a lower down again. So our target is to make it under 200,000 rupiah.
Okay.
So if we can make it under 200,000 rupiah, so this will be more controllable for the to control the contingencies of the COVID,
Right.
because this is the very first step. If we don't have the really cheap the PCR test, then this is really difficult to control,
Yeah,
because
of
the
course.
antigen is not accurate as the PCR.
Correct.
And the cost is like cutting, it costs a lot of cost for businesses as well, especially you mentioned before, the earnings are just the same. No, the costs are just the same and the earnings are still, just getting there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and PCR tests are one of the biggest things that businesses have to pay out for. For example,
for
employees, or if they have a business that requires customers to get tested before
right.
tourism industry,
Yeah.
especially, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's shift our focus a little bit on another topic we want to touch on here. You were actually named the president of ASEAN Confederation of Employers, or ACE, for 2021 and 2023. So congratulations. What programs
you.
do you plan to promote partnerships between ASEAN countries?
Yeah, the ACE main role actually it's we are sharing the information among the ASEAN countries about the regulation of manpower. So how we do the industrial relation, how we can optimize the employment, how that we can make a more productivity in our employees, something like that. So in our plan, as the Indonesian become the president of ACE, that we want to optimize our plan, mutual recognition agreement, MRA. MRA it means that there is about nine, if I'm not wrong, nine of the job that can be make it more easier to move for the skilled worker to work in the ASEAN countries.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is make it
So 9 different job
easier
sectors. I
regulation.
suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So make it so. This is a very a challenge for us because some of the countries they really don't want to make it this. Even this is only an agreement between the leaders. Yeah. They said in the highest rank of the officer, they have the agreement. All the presidents, prime minister, but in the implementation, every country it's still quote unquote objection about this.
Yeah,
But I
everyone,
think this
every
is
country's
really
got their own agenda, I'm sure. As well.
Yes. And also because of I don't know, ratings of skilled workers from different countries, and of course a lot of people want to keep it more local first focus, perhaps, or perhaps there are going to be countries with too many skilled workers working abroad and the balance is difficult. So and I understand that, but how do you plan to keep this from backfiring against Indonesia, though, when this related? Because we have pandemic unemployment is on the rise, and this moratorium itself is going to be very difficult to implement because a lot of countries are already so hesitant in recruiting, in recruiting international workers.
Foreign workers.
Yeah, foreign workers, you could say.
Yeah. This is of course it still needs time to recover there. But ASEAN, especially Indonesia, we are really confident that we will grow. We will grow, growing much more as before. So, because why? Because this is always, if you look the historical data, every time we hit by the crisis, whatever the crisis, the economic crisis, the war, etc., then when the condition become normal again, the growth rate become more than before. So ASEAN will be also there. So talking about again about the employment will be better. Not only Indonesia but also ASEAN. So in our mind, so the most that we can make our people become productive, it's really good for the country and also for the region. Yeah, for example, let's say like this, Indonesia is really have objection for the Ikatan Dokter Indonesia, for the Indonesian Doctor Association. They are really refuse to to open the how that we can employ the foreign doctors in Indonesia. Even actually, if we want to make the medical tourism, we need them, So sometimes we think just only in the small matters, but we forget to get the big impact, Something, and even good for the transfer of technology, transfer of the know-how in the medical knowledge, So sometimes, this is it. So we should look the big picture, not just only in the needs of the sectors,
Right. We have to think more long-term and look at the larger scope of things.
It's a change of mindset.
Anyway, Pak Hariyadi, we wish we had more time, but unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go. Thank you so much, though, for sharing. We do appreciate your time. And we, much like you, are looking for brighter days ahead as well. As we can see, the future is getting better. So we hope, we wish you all the best and continue to do what you do. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mas Paul. Thank you,
Stay healthy. Have yourself a great morning.